Hey guys, it's Cassandra. Sorry I was quiet for a second because my mic's on the other device that hadn't been added yet, but it's great to see everybody. I really appreciate you guys joining me kind of at the last minute 'cause I just came up with this cute little project um, maybe on Monday and then just posted and emailed everybody about the time of the tutorial today. So welcome. So last minute that I forgot when I got home that I was going to do the video. Just put my leggings and sweatshirt on and got all cozy and then was like, oh, that's right, I need to look presentable. So I didn't even put any jewelry on, and I appreciate you guys always accept me as I am. So thank you for that. I turn the comments on so I can see what you guys are saying, and if you have any questions or just want to let me know that you're out there, please feel free. I love interacting with you. So this project is an adorable little Valentine's inspired bracelet, and although we're going to focus on the heart design tonight, there's a lot of possibilities here, so I would love to see what you guys end up playing around with. The Odd Count Peyote allows you to create a center to your bracelet. I would have gone with an easier option with an even count peyote if I had been able to do that and get away with the design still, but because those hearts have to have that little point at the bottom and the indent at the top, we needed to be able to center the design. So that's the reasoning for using Odd Count Peyote, but bonus, you guys get to learn a new technique. So that's always a great thing. And I will show you step by step how to add the hearts, and then we'll kind of talk a little bit about the idea of graphing out your designs, but we won't go into detail with anything other than the heart design tonight. So let's talk about supplies. This project color scheme was inspired by our January 2023 Curated Collections subscription. And if you are not already a subscriber, you can find a tab for our Curated Collections on our website at beadstoliveby.com. So what the Curated Collections are, we have several subscriptions offered every month, and one of them is a set of size 11 seed beads in 8 different colors. So you get a coordinated combination of seed beads every month that you can use to create projects that are already curated in color for you, so you do not have to make those decisions yourself. And because there's 8 of them, you can mix and match and get a lot of different color schemes out of just one set of beads. So I decided to throw in this month a couple of our 2mm fire polish, which are super itty bitty little creatures that we carry now. And this is the 24 karat gold plated option, which I'm going to be throwing in with my colors tonight. Looks like we've got a visitor. Hi, Minky. Incognito. Every once in a while, somebody's screen name is just close enough to their real first or last name that I know who it is. Your secret's safe with us, Minky. So Minky knows all about the Curated Collections and is a subscriber, if it's who I'm thinking of. So thank you and welcome. They said LOL. We are, let's get real quick back to, okay, I've got the supply list up still. So aside from the size 11 seed beads, which I only used one of the colors of the seed beads, but then I used the colors in my collection to pick out other things to go with those seed beads. So this is the seed bead that I used in this particular bracelet. And the color that inspired my one of my choices for the other beads for the 2mm is this particular pink. It's actually the F418. If you end up going to reorder or check out what's in your own subscription package. But that is like this really perfectly beautiful bubblegum pink and is very similar, not in texture, but in color to one of our 2mm beads. So the colors in this bracelet and the 2mm are both a pastel finish, which means they look a little shimmery, but they're definitely a matte finish. Oh, thank you, Minky. They said, I love all of your curated palettes. Beautiful. So these 2mm are not coordinated with the curated collections, but as you can see, I'm using the trick of using the beads that I know I want to use in my project and then other beads from the collection in order to choose beads that are not the same size and shape, but that I need for my project. Oh, thank you so much, Lynn. Started your monthly subscription for 3 months now. Love your color palettes. I so appreciate that. I've been doing this for a really long time, and sometimes I feel like if I come up with a new color scheme for something, it's a miracle. So that just gives you guys an idea of like just one way you can like choose colors, and 3 colors is a great balance of, that's why I did my hearts in 2 different colors so that I had that set of 3 still. I just think it adds a little bit more interest, and we even did a little lined heart. That was me running out of beads. And I will warn you, these beads are 50 beads to a strand, and you absolutely will need at least 2 strands of each color if you're using 2 colors. So you need at least 4 strands of fire polish with this particular design. You could spread them out more, and we'll talk a little bit about that idea with your seed beads. And then you can also use more than 2 colors, like 3 or 4 colors of 2mm would be really cute with this design. There's a lot of possibilities. And tonight we're going to do something a little different than the original design, where you can see there's a lot of contrast between the seed beads and the 2mm that I happen to choose there. I am actually going to use a monochromatic color scheme, not for my sample part where I show you guys how to stitch it, but this is another one of the colors from the Curated Collection January, and this is F882 for those of you that are following your colors from the collection. So that's a matte finish against 2 shiny fire polish, and I'm really excited to see that gold against little gold hearts. They're going to be really cute. The other helpful hint that is probably good to know is that each heart uses a certain number of the fire polish. So 3, 6, 9, 13. You need 13 fire polish per heart in the size that we are designing within. So that's another helpful little tidbit there. Got my lemon ginger tea. I knew it was going to be hot. I put my tea into a mug that has a lid on it, which is a great idea for my super chilly office, my home office, and a great idea for a more safe work environment in general, so I don't spill it all over my beads. But it also means that I'm going to be burning my tongue the whole time I try to drink it. Oh gosh, we are getting some crazy weather all over the country. I saw that there were a lot of ice storms and things happening in, Texas right now. And last week, our weather was terrible. We had like 2 or 3 sets of pretty intense snowfalls that were not. We've had a pretty mild winter up to this point, I guess we'll say it that way. And I was not expecting it to get, it's very cold again. I think we've got single-digit temps right now, off and on. So having lots of fun with that. let's talk about thread, because I kind of got derailed from my conversation about the supplies. I am working with a new thread to us, so I don't have it listed on the website, but if you're interested, just let me know. I do have some in stock. I just did not order enough the first time around to, I can hear my dog playing outside. I did not order enough the first time around to be able to list it on the website, I don't think. I don't remember listing it, but if you find it, then yay you. This is something that's new to us that was recommended by a friend from my Yuki brand, and it's called Duraline. So for me, I personally feel like it is very similar to a fire line. And this project would also work really well with a thin fire line. I don't know what size to compare this to, but I held the spool up so you could see the diameter, make an educated guess based on that. And then besides that, you also could use a 1G or a Sono, and that's we have packages of the 1G listed. Now the nice thing about the 1G is it comes in like a couple dozen colors, and you could really match up your colors of your thread to your project. And your seed bead's the thing you want to match the closest if you are doing that, because that is what you will see the most along the edge, is the thread against the seed beads. Okay, I gotta catch up on people's conversations here. Tucson last week, it's in the 70s. Oh, had snow in Tucson last week, and now it's in the 70s. And then Lynn had said that she's in Louisiana, and that 2 days ago they had the air conditioner on, and today it's the fireplace. Yes, Minky, 0.0006 would be very thin thread. I'm starting with just a wingspan. You'll have to add thread at that length, but it's a little more comfortable to work with that much and not however much you would put in your project. The only reason I'm not going to switch over to my 1G during the demo is because I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. So this contrast is actually going to work to our advantage, but I'm going to scooch over here and turn off my space heater because it's finally starting to warm up out. Ooh, icky noises. It's really chilly out in my office at home is almost like a 3 Seasons room. It's not quite that extreme, but it gets very cold if I don't turn on. There's overhead heating panels, which is just like a lovely side effect of buying a home that's original to the 1950s. So try not to run them very much, but for an hour while I do a video, it makes sense because I don't want you guys to, I don't want to freeze while I'm out here sharing fun projects with you all. Okay, lemon ginger tea. I think it's Yogi brand. I can't remember if I said that or not, but in case anybody's wondering, I drank that brand before. This is a new flavor for me. Now I just have to make sure that I am centered on my tray. There we go. So this bracelet is 7 beads wide, which means we'll pick up 7 beads on our needle to start, and we're working with the size 11s to begin with. Again, we've got a wingspan of thread, and I think I've got 7 on there. And I'm going to switch off my face for a minute and just see if that shows up any larger for you guys. I don't know if it's really gonna make a difference, but let's see. Yes, Minky. Oh my gosh, I don't think it really changes the size of that image at all. The cruise is, we leave a week from tomorrow, and I definitely need to stay healthy because the bead lady needs a vacation. And it's not all vacation, but there's some vacation involved, and it's definitely going to be very much appreciated. So I like to hold my beads in my finger like so, and I'm trying to get my workspace arranged here. I don't know if moving any of these lights around is gonna give you guys a better, I feel like my camera is blocking my light a little bit. So with 7 beads, this is just about 8 inches away from my tail is where I'm holding this. I'm gonna pick up one size 11. I'm gonna skip the closest 11 on my thread, and I'm going to go through the next one. So you technically have 2 beads floating around on this end of your thread. When you pull them down, that's what it's gonna look like. So if you pull that taut, when I say taut, I mean like you're not buckling your beads or your thread, but you want everything to sit in into place, and that's how they should sit. So the very last bead you added out of the 7, and then the next bead, which would be your 8th technically, should stack up on one another. And then we're going to add one more seed bead, and we're going to skip. We're coming out of one bead, we're skipping the next, and going through the following. So I will do that and then show you guys what it looks like, just like so. And I have to pull it away from the camera as I pull my thread through, because otherwise I'm going to get all caught up on the things. But I am trying to show you guys. So you see that little loop of thread? That's just my bead floating. When I pull on all the threads, then they all stack up nicely. Aw, sorry, Lynn. Hopefully we don't lose you for long. You can always watch the replay if you guys are not following live. So you continue in this matter. This part is just regular peyote stitch. And the only difference is with even count, when you go through your last bead, you come out and you turn. With odd count, you have this like odd man out. So this is your 7th or your first bead technically that you added. And we're already through to where we can't go through anything else, because you have to, if you were going to go through this bead, there would have to be another bead between them that you skipped. So the way I start odd count, and I'm sure everybody has a different method, I take what's happening here and I add one more bead to my needle, and then I'm going to pull that down to the rest of my work. So you've got those 2 beads sitting just at the ends of the threads. And then I'm going to take my tail thread and my needle thread, and I'm going to cross them over like that. And then you're going to take your tail thread and you're going to pull it through that loop. And all that is happening there is a not fancy overhand knot. So we're just going to pull that thread down, because ultimately, and we're going to do that one more time. So needle thread, tail thread together, cross over and bring tail thread through the loop. So then when you've got that nice knot going, we're just going to bring that down and tie. So you've got a double overhand knot, and all of your beads are every other one stacked like so. Gosh, I'm gonna have to remember to use matte colored finished beads with all of my demos, because they really show up well on the camera. So now we're gonna take our needle and we're gonna go through the very last bead we added. So that's always gonna be the newest row. Spoiler alert, in this portion of it, you won't be able to tell the difference between the first row and the last row, but down the line, you will be able to see that. So now your thread's coming out, ready to add more beads, and we're just going to throw one seed bead onto our thread, or onto our needle rather. So now when you skip a bead, it's going to be the ones that are lower. So we're coming out of a bead sticking up, we skip that lower one, and we go through the next bead, and it's not choosing to focus on my work now, so that's awesome. just out of nowhere. Let's see if we can. It's like it wants to just focus on my one hand for some reason. All right, let's see if we can look at the, oh, that's not what I meant to do. Okay, sort of, kind of. So we're going through that bead sticking up. I had this problem last time. Minky, isn't that crazy how this works? It's like magic. I feel like my last video, I lost the ability to focus on my project kind of out of nowhere. This is Peyote Stitch Lynn. She was asking what we were working on, but it is what is called Odd Count Peyote Stitch, where you're using an odd number of beads in the width of the bracelet. So one more bead, and this is really gonna drive me nuts. I need to figure out how I can focus on my, let's see if there's any way to adjust this. Try pulling it up a little bit and see if that helps. Yeah, it's like it's focusing on my thumbnail, but not on my work. There we go. Maybe I can. Sorry, guys. I just want to make sure that if I can do anything to better your experience, that I do so. Well, we'll just hold it a little further away from the camera, and we'll just have you guys zoom in with your own devices if you are able to do that. Thanks, Minky. Yeah, Lynn, no problem. I'm happy to answer questions like that. And clearly I'm not moving very fast tonight, so it's not a problem. But the peyote stitch is the same when you are working through the middle of odd or even count. The only difference is the turnaround on one edge of, so we're about to get to the edge of this project. And I apologize for taking so long to try to refocus things. Very odd to me that that changes partway through the broadcast. So now I am at the point where I can turn, and you are going to add one bead and you skip the end lower bead and you go through the upper second bead in from the end. So that's the turnaround on the, what would be more traditionally the even count edge. So then you got 3 stacked there. And then you work all the way back to the odd count edge. And if you have trouble doing this with something like a size 11, practice with a size 8, or if you have any square seed beads, it would be the ideal thing to practice peyote stitch with, because you would really be able to get them to lock into place like a brick. Now, when we get back to the odd count edge, where you always can tell because it's the side that your tail is on. So that's your trick. You add 1 seed bead, and you are actually going to take your needle and go underneath of the thread that's between the last 2 beads. So it happens to be the only 2 beads on this side right now, but you want to be on the outside, but between those beads underneath of the thread that's along the edge. And then you pull your thread all the way through, and you are going to take your finger or your nail, and you're going to place that bead so that it sits the way that you need it to. So that's the last bead you added, is down here. And then you're going to go back through that bead with your needle. And while my camera desperately tries to focus on random things, and we also happen to be at the point where I'm ready to start adding the fire polish. So the stitching is going to be, I'm going to focus a little less on giving you guys step-by-step, because the way we add the beads is going to continue to be just like you add one, you go through every other bead in the row. But when you hit the middle, so after only one stitch inside of the bracelet, we are going to pick up one of our fire polish, because this is the center. So that's where my point is going to sit. So I've got one of those fire polish on there, and that's where I'm going to add it in the center position. I'm going to hold this really still for a minute so you guys can also see you've got the 3 beads in the outer rows, and then every other space from that first, like this one was just added, that I'm going to put my needle through. So you had 3 beads and then 2 beads every other row from outside to in before you were ready to start adding the fire polish. I like to give people counts and visual cues like that, because I think it's a little easier to place how they're. I'm so glad, Minky. They said, awesome, so much easier. So now we're on the even side of the turnaround. So we're just going to add 111 along the edge. And the other thing to note about this project is your fire polish will not go all the way to the edges of the bracelet. So if you start adding beads and your fire polish are on the outside, you know you've gone too far. But after I turn around and add my first 11, my next bead in this design is a fire polish as I go through the center fire polish. That's the trick for this row. And then we've got one more fire polish as we pass out of the center fire polish. So you've got to get that V shape at the bottom of the heart. It's an abstract heart too. It's not a very like pointy heart. So now we're at the odd count turnaround where we've got 1 space remaining and no place to stitch. So we're going to add 111 and go under that thread between the last set of beads in the previous 2 rows. And then we're going to pull that 11 into place. So I will make sure and post a picture of, we have a Facebook group called Beads in Progress, and that is where I tend to update a little bit about like what I'm working on. Like I posted a picture of a bunch of the beads that are in this project with the thread and was talking about just kind of like my idea ahead of designing. So conversely, when I get a couple of hearts made and you can see like the contrast of just having the shiny but similar colored fire polish against the matte and opaque seed bead, I'll post a picture of that in that group. The tea is still very hot. It's also ironic that I burnt my tongue earlier on my coffee, so pretty much I'm 0 for 0 on not burning my mouth on my hot beverages tonight. So I'm going back through that 11 that we just added along the edge, and I'm going to add another fire polish. So now I'm going to add fire polish along the whole middle. So I've got 1 here, and then it'll be another one in the center above your first one in the previous row. And you'll go into the last fire polish. And then once you get to that space, you're adding 1 more fire polish. That gold makes it a little harder to see. Awesome, Minky. You just have to go to Facebook and request to join, and there's a security question just to filter out the spam. But please feel free to go find that group. I will make sure and look for you and let you in. So again, no fire polish along the edge. So when I turn around on this even count side, I'm going to add 111 and go back through my last fire polish and create a big ol' knot. That's one thing I'm not as used to about the threads that I tend to work with, and this thread is a little more naughty thread. But I'm sure if I would like follow my own advice and add some wax to it, it would be helpful. Sorry guys, I have to take it off camera for a minute so I can see what's happening. That knot got kind of nasty. There we go. All right, so moving along. Okay. So we are at the point where I don't know if there's more than one row where you add the beads, the fire polish beads all the way across. Let me check. One. You come out that side, you go through there, you add one. If you guys can hear that in the background, it's my husband playing with our dog. Oh, wonderful question, Minky. I will pull a tape measure out once I get through this heart and give you guys some tips on the sizing. The sizing will vary depending on what brand and what type of size 11 seed bead you're using. So it makes a small difference, but it does make a difference. So we've got these 3 fire polish sticking up. 1, 2, 3. So then I think we're just adding the 2 in between here. So this is the part of the heart that's going to bump up, but we're not at the top yet. So we're just adding 2 fire polish in this row with 11s on the edges. The joys of peyote stitch, it's just not quite the same from one spot to the next. This gold is like gold. It is so beautiful and bright. So it's really going to add quite the contrast between itself and the seed bead and the other fire polish color I chose. And it'll be an interesting experiment color-wise or finish-wise too. Just pulled my needle off my thread. It's nice and silky, so that's kind of a double-edged sword. I think in this case, we use like a microcrystalline wax, and I really think that would give you some assistance with some of the issues I've run into with the knotting or the slipping. Minky, the gold is so sparkly, and these fire polish fall into the sale right now on the website, which I can't believe I didn't even remember to say this. We are within a week of celebrating our 10-year anniversary as a store. So if you guys are not subscribers to our newsletter, our email, which you should be if you are a subscriber to the Curated Collections, but we posted all of those sales there. Minky, if you would email me, I will happily include your thread in any orders you've got coming up, or if you want it in a separate order, I can just bill you separately for that. So no problem. Yes, the thread, I will be offering the thread, but I also would highly recommend the 1G, which we have a cute little multi-pack available on the website. So maybe check that out too. Thanks so much, Lynn. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate that you are getting ready to make a shopping trip too, Minky. Yeah, Lynn is appreciating that gold as well. All right, so getting back on track here for just a minute. On the edge, we're going to add another, we've already come back through our turnaround on the 11, and I guess I could work over, not over the beads. That might be, I wonder if that's why it's not focusing a little bit. We'll see. We're adding one more fire polish on the edge here, and then I think we're at the point, I keep thinking I'm further than I am. I'm not ready for any 11s in the middle yet. So you are going to add fire polish all the way across this again. We're close, guys. And thank you, Lynn, for the congratulations on the anniversary. Because the cruise is coming up so quickly, we leave the day after our official anniversary. I'm celebrating a little early this year, and I'm probably not doing quite as much as I would do for a 10-year anniversary if I had a little more downtime around the date of the anniversary. Just too much going on, but we're going to try to celebrate as much as we can. So now you just turned around, you've got 2 beads on each row all the way across of the heart, except for the middle, you've got 3. You will not add any more to the middle. 3 is your max. So we're going to add 2 fire polish across this. You know, we're not going to add them on the edge, so that's the only other beads you add are the ones along the center edge here. Oh, there's another pesky knot. Let's see if we can, oof. Might have just done something nasty in my thread here. Hold on, there we go. This one frays a little bit more than the 1G, which depending on what you're doing with it, it might still be better to use this, but for this project, I think the 1G would be kind of nice. And I've got a size 11 seed bead. I'm doing that turnaround on the odd count side of the bracelet. And now we get to finish off our heart shape. So we are going to be adding, I think, size 11 seed beads all the way across now. I think we're at the end of the fire polish edition. So let's see here. We've got size 11 and then going through a fire polish here. I know it's a little harder to see with that glittery gold. And then another size 11 in the middle row. That's going to be your indent for your heart at the top. And my last space on this row is going to be size 11. Oh, this heart is going to be so spectacularly sparkly. So now I'm turning around, I'm on my even count edge, so I add an 11 and I go through the one that's sticking up that I just added in the last row. And I'm going to go all the way across with my 11s again this time. Now, because you are working with 2 millimeters and your 11s, you'll see where the rows where the hearts start and stop in the rows. There's a little bit of a ripple on the edge. That's because your 2 millimeters are ever so slightly bigger than the 11s. So you won't see that if you use all the same size bead and just change colors, which is fine, but I really love that subtle, feels very romantic with having those 2 millimeters in there, plus the sparkle of the fire polish facets. Okay, guys, that is like, that heart hurts the eyeballs, but I wonder if I can turn my lamp or my light down that's over it a little bit, if that'll help. We'll see. There we go. Yes, very much an intended scallop in the design, Lynn. But that's my little peyote stitch heart, guys. Definitely, nothing crazy inventive. I've seen lots of similar ideas out there, but just knew that these supplies that we have right now would be absolutely perfect for this idea. I'll turn the light back up now that we're able to focus on that heart a little bit. But for the rows in between, you are going to work in that peyote stitch with your 11s so that you have the two, there we go, get that to focus. There will be two 11s in the center row between that last fire polish and the next fire polish. So I know that would be a question for, and again, that's just this particular setup and design. You definitely could spread the hearts out. You couldn't smush them together a whole lot more, although you could a little bit. Now I can hear my dog. Oh my goodness. Not a moment's peace. But I can't wait to share with you guys once I get a few more rows of those colors done on the new sample, because I think that's going to be really fun. Thank you, Lynn. I am really excited about this. And just to reiterate, you guys can really play around with, I have made peyote graph paper in the past, and I was looking around a little bit for it and I didn't see it. If I can find my PDF that I created for us, then I will share that in the Beads in Progress group. I think I could do that as a file where you guys could like grab that and download it. But that way you could create your own designs. You would just like choose how many rows you want to use for your bracelet or your project, and then you can color in with different colored pencils or markers to get like diamond shapes would be fun. I don't know if a clover would be doable. You'd probably have to widen the strip a little bit, but a clover would be really cute for some upcoming holidays. But a button would be a really fun closure for this if you're looking for ideas of ways to finish this bracelet off. I also think that our snap clasps, our ball and socket clasps is really what they're called, would work really well as also. You could just like narrow down the ends with a couple strands of beads and call it a day. So switch over here really quick. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your evening. Again, if you don't subscribe to our newsletter, we do have a Facebook event that we created for our 10-year anniversary. It's called 10 Years of BD Fun. And we've shared the newsletter with all of the sales we're having this week and the Zoom invite for our virtual party that we're throwing on February 7th, the day before our actual anniversary. So we'll be doing a fun project in there, and it might also involve peyote stitch. I haven't decided which thing I'm going to share during that live event yet, but hopefully some of our BD friends will be there to celebrate with us, and maybe we'll have like a beverage out for ourselves. You're welcome to get yourselves a special treat also. So thank you so much and have a wonderful night, guys. Bye.